Hello everyone and welcome back to another Poppy Builds video. Today's video is going to be a remodel of Daisy Hovel. Ugh, what a mouthful. Anyway, today is a remodel of Daisy Hovel. The plan is to go from Daisy Hovel to so many Daisies Hovel. And the concept of it is the sim that lives here is a sim that loves camping. So a lot of the stuff inside is very woody, very camp-esque vibes, and there is no TV or computer in this specific build because they just want to be, one with nature whilst also enjoying a few fine amenities in life. So it's almost a off the grid build. Off the grid. There is a grill actually in this build, so it can't be called the off the grid grilled build. What am I even saying right now? This is like a tongue twister today. Absolute crazy. Anyway, the concept of this build is an almost off the grid build for someone who likes camping, but who also wants a few fine amenities. Again, with my remodels, the concept is that I can't adjust any of the outside, and I also cannot add any excess patios or balconies. So the structure of it is what has to say, but all of the interior can be remodeled. It's kind of like a shell challenge, except the shell is the design from The Sims. So again, with this build, I tried to add camp-esque vibes. So it's just a lot of wood. But instead of it being like what I like to say when I add wood, being like the conscientious choice to have long-term sustainable materials, no. This sim just likes to have the outside, inside with them. That's the build. And the bottom, I don't know what it's called right now. The bottom grate bit, like in real life, it would be very thick and clay underneath, and maybe have a few dead things, like a mice. That has happened in my house before. We have found dead mice underneath the patio. 0 out of 10 did I like it, but also it's 10 out of 10 how the ecosystem works. But 0 out of 10 for finding it. Anyway, that bit where I've gone on a tangent, this whole video today right now is a tangent, it matches the fence. That's all I wanted to say. The top of it matches the fence. Thank you. Thank you for coming to this TED Talk. This is not the door I end up going with because it's too big, it's too busy, and it just does not match the theme of the build. Sadly. On the inside, I loved this archway from Magic Realm, but then the doors I put in initially did not match the color swatch, so I switched it out for a bit more expensive doors. I added these open panel windows from Eco Lifestyle. And again, I went with white on the outside because that's just clean, simple, easy. But I did not go with big, giant windows this time. I know, crazy, but that was a vibe for the day. And I went for, I believe, windows that are base game. So they have a little bit of like a rough and tumble vibe to them, but fit really well in this build. Because again, this is like a camp-esque vibe build, and not having everything perfect is 100% camp vibes. Fun fact, I do not like camping, but I love to play camping in The Sims. I like glamping. Do you guys like glamping or real camping? Let me know below. Because the response should be neither. I'm just kidding. for those that do love camping, it is kudos to you, man. I also don't like fishing, and I think that is a major component of camping, but I do love fishing in The Sims. So for the bathroom, I went with very camp-esque vibes. Let's count how many times I say that this build. Who knows? I wanted to go for very simple, no bathtub. Like, the flooring I went with this is meant to mimic, like, the outdoors, like a old, well-worn path. Did not playtest this build, so I cannot tell you if the wash tub actually works in this build. But I do love the wallpaper that I went with for the bathroom. And that right there is just their small little washroom, dustpan room. It's a little cleaning room area. For the bedroom, again, I went with camp vibes. I decided not to put curtains on the open windows because we can pretend that they can close them and they have like some sort of mesh on them, so I think that you actually wouldn't get a lot of light through them. Not like The Sims can close their windows anyway, but it's nice to pretend. I decided that this would be a sim who would like a clock, so I just put it away for later. This is where I end for the day. But then, right away, I'm off to start building again. So I took a little break, because it took me a long time to do this yesterday. I don't know, it took me a lot longer than expected. So now I'm back in business for this build. I love how the bedroom turned out. It's all very almost off the grid functional. So all of their lamps in the room, they don't need to be attached to electricity to work. So this sim in here is definitely going camp vibes and gonna have very low utility builds. So what do you guys think? Do you think this specific lounge chair is like an outdoor lounge chair or an indoor one? Because I use them interchangeably, outdoor, indoor, does not matter, I just like it. But I think it's meant to be an outdoor chair. But it's fine, it's inside now. And of course, because they love camping, they're gonna love frogs, and that's what they're gonna have in their bedroom to be comforted at night with their little tiny frogs. I ended up using that laundry basket elsewhere later. So that's pretty much the whole entire bedroom. I add a few wall decorations. I thought these indoor vertical walls would be so cute, but they just didn't fit, and I was too tired to figure out how to move the curtains to make them fit. So instead I went with just a few simple decorations. I think that's all I put in there. I just put in one decoration and some paintings. So they're planning to hang up some more decorations, obviously. That's what they plan to do. So this awkward little room, I plan on just being a kitchen and dining room. I wanted it to be large. I wanted it to be a build for a sim that hosts a lot of guests. And I wanted it to be a sim who was a little bit of a cluttery type of person. after finding the right chair, this is where I put the dining room table, and then I thought to myself, that seems like wasted space, and I ended up moving it because then you just had like dead space in the middle of the room, and that to me just did not really feel fully functional. And again, this is obviously not an off-the-grid build because look at all of these beautiful appliances. It's an almost off-the-grid. Not off the grill, just off the grid. And this is where I ended up putting this was the final layout for where I put the dining room table. I tried to angle it a bit, but I wanted it then after I switched cameras to angle it. I didn't like how it looked angled. I wanted it to match how the doorway was angled, and I left it like that. So all of the stuff in this build is just a little bit imperfect. Like those chairs, the dining room table, all just have like the almost there finish, and I think it looks so good. It looks awesome. And then I put some high chairs in there that matched the appliances, so I added some tone. Then I found this wreath, which I've never used in a build, and I was like, this is the perfect build to put like a non-holiday related wreath into, just for aesthetics. That is not where I put the wreaths. I just put them there so I could remember to use them. And here I was trying to put these vertical gardens in. They just did not work. So I ended up just putting in the stereotypical like back of the bar. That's where they keep all of their bottles and stuff. So this is a sim that loves to host. That's the whole entire kitchen. I then add just the basics of the kitchen. I then add in tons and tons and tons of clutter. Or more clutter than I typically have in the kitchen because I just want to always make it completely functional and very simple. Here I am pulling out everything that I want for the clutter to be. I think I use every single item I pull out except for the incense, which I tried to use and then ended up discarding. But otherwise, everything that you see haphazardly placed currently is put into a more haphazard but aesthetic clutter. So I wanted to have, because they have the coffee pot it's a coffee pot. I wanted them to have the mugs, which I spent ages looking for. Like, I could not remember what they were called. When I typed in coffee, they didn't come up, but the name for it, I'm pretty certain, is like coffee of mugs. So I have no idea why it didn't come up, and I wanted the kava bowl to be with it. So again, this is a sim who loves to host, so they can have kava parties and just have a good old time. And I had a little pizza man, so cute. Also, I think I might have gotten rid of the utensils. So I got rid of the utensils and the incense holder, but did use everything else. And then I wanted to put the lemons up there, but they kind of looked weird, so I left them, got rid of the incense. That's the kitchen and all of its clutter. We'll see it when we do the walkthrough. And I mean, like, it's messy, but it's not functional. You could definitely use it to cook, bake, whatever you want. It's a good kitchen. This is where I put the incense holder, and then I thought to myself, is it floating? So I ended up moving it and putting plants in there. And I also said, is it floating? Let me know if you think it's floating. I think they look okay. And then I added some kind of like, these are curtains I always feel like are in camper vans, because they are like used for small windows, but I just put them on these really big windows to add a little bit of protection from the sun glare. This is the entryway, very simple. I end up using the basket And then I put in a stereo instead. Not instead, I end up putting a stereo. Finally found a place for the clock, so I know you guys were concerned, don't worry. The clock is in the build. And then this fireplace was just a bit too pristine for this specific home, so I put in a more woody, homey one that I thought matched quite well. And because there is no TV, I made the center point of this just have the chairs looking at each other, and put in a nice rug, may catch on fire, who knows, and a mirror above the fireplace. I went with a green. I think it matches the decorations in the bedroom too, which looks quite nice. I added a chess table, and then I realized I had put it the wrong way, had to switch it. And then moved the clock, don't worry, did not get rid of the clock, to add a wood working bench. So The Sims is very into mending their own things if any of their appliances break. They aren't one to buy new things, so they do need to practice that skill. This is me trying to figure out where I wanted to put the wreath, because I wanted it in this house really badly. Why? It just felt right. So I ended up putting it in the entryway and moving that into the living room / woodworking room. It's a living room. And then I put in the same curtains from the bedroom. So this whole house has curtains. And I typically don't put curtains in the kitchen, but I thought it looked quite nice in this build. And there's the grill. See? It's not off the grill. It's only almost off the grid. And this is when I decided I was too lazy to find the debug for this Daisies. So this house is much more expensive than it needs to be because of the amount of daisies I added in this build. That's why it's called so much Daisies Hovel. Because there is an incessant amount of daisies. And in the back here, I wanted to create a little closed off meadow space for just vibes, I guess. So this sim is going to have their own little camp experience in their backyard. So it's very cozy and personal and just warm. And initially what I had, it just looked a little bit fake. It just looked poorly landscaped. So I added a lot more trees. And this is where you go, Poppy, why did you add so many daisies that weren't on debug? You can see the money being lost in the corner. I don't know, this was just a build. This was just a moment. It was a day. But I added too many daisies. It's so many daisies. That is also what you can find this build under on the Sims gallery. It is called the So Many Daisies Rebuild or Remodel. I actually know the name for this one, and I think it is So Many Daisies Hovel Remodel. So that's where you can find it on the gallery if you would like to download this build. Also, whatever sim lives here does a lot of laundry, it seems. I just thought it looked really nice with 3 clotheslines. Here I'm trying to create the little meadow, and I ended up putting this specific bench exactly where I started. And I think if you decide to download this build, it actually would work really well if there was an easel back here. I'm just considering this now. It would look quite sweet, or maybe the horseshoe game even, but this is all I did in the back. I added a little cute camp space, and I'm pretty certain these chairs match the chair in the bedroom. I hope. Or are at least the same design, but potentially a different swatch. This is me doing some landscaping, and I really like how the meadow turned out. The little secret camp area. It definitely would look super great with an easel upon reflection. So if you want to add one, go ahead. I think it would make the build look even greater. That is the full build, so let's go tour it. Woohoo! So the outside is very simple. I added a bike. This is a sim that definitely would be a biker. I just didn't want anything fancy on the front. So this is the kitchen and dining room / entryway. Entryway, just a nice bit of clutter and a stereo. And the kitchen, fully functional. All their clutter, they are a major tea drinker. And this is the bedroom. All the frogs, very cute, very functional. Very almost off the grid. This is the living room, which leads us into the bathroom. I think my bathroom's probably the favorite bit of this build. It just looks so warm and welcoming and very minimalistic. It's really nice. And then we go on our way to the meadow. Also, the fireplace was lit. How awesome is that? I don't know why, but this is the meadow. I love all of it. And now we frolic through the flowers. And that is the whole entire build. So this is a remodel of Daisy Hovel into becoming the So Many Daisies Hovel. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon, and don't forget to subscribe.